So I have a magic number I'm going to tell you, and then at the end of the presentation, you might have to help me remember to tell you what the answer is, but I'm going to say the number is 8. And when we're done with the presentation, you can give a guess as to why I am giving you that number. Okay? And it's okay if you forget the number, because I'm going to just try to remember to give you the answer. So Michelle is my intern today. If we had a computer, she would be pushing the slides forward for me like last week's intern. So thank you guys for coming out. It's a great group. I'm really glad to see everyone here after Valentine's Day. So Michelle, you try to help me remember to talk about the number 8 when we're done. Okay. And so we were talking today, and she was saying, well, I don't really go out to eat that often because it's kind of expensive. And I thought that was a really good lead-in to tonight's discussion on dining out. So fortunately, I did print out the slides. However, I did not print a copy for everyone else. So I'm just going to kind of go through them. And I want this to be a little bit more interactive since we don't actually have slides to look at. So I'm going to try to ask you questions throughout as well and kind of pull you into it. And I don't know, do you guys have any note pages with you tonight? If you don't, it's okay because this is going to be online. But there are a couple pieces of information I want you to think about, and really in reference to your own goals about dining out. So that's what I want you to think about throughout this presentation, is what you think you can change or what you want to change about your dining out habits. So I'm going to start off with just a couple surprising facts. 50% of Americans eat out 3 or more meals a week. So that really didn't surprise me too much. I know I just said these are surprising facts, and then I just said that was surprising. But this next one I think is a little more surprising. 12% of Americans eat out 7 or more meals a week. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of meals out. So that was pretty surprising. 1 meal away from home each week translates to 2 pounds of weight gain. Like, that's interesting also, because it's not unheard of for us to eat 1 meal out a week, right? That seems fairly normal and not excessive. So here's a list of potential goals, and if you don't have anything to write with, that's totally fine. But I'm going to read them out to you, and we're going to refresh them again at the end. I am going to limit eating out to only blank times per week. I am going to limit splurges to just 1 small splurge per blank. I will get a copy of the nutrition facts for the following restaurants. So restaurants that you frequent. That would be great to know some of the nutritional information of those restaurants, because it definitely will change your choices. I will no longer order blank, and some of that might come from the nutrition information that you download. I will start bringing my lunch to work. I will look over my team's list and help them to do what they say they will. So a little accountability there. So this is where I'm going to ask you guys to kind of chime in. The next slide says, why is dining out dangerous? So why do you think dining out is dangerous? So I do want you to participate in this discussion. Why is dining out dangerous? What are some reasons you think it can be disruptive to your health goals?
Larger portions.
Larger portions, that is huge.
You're also not in control of what they're cooking with.
Yes.
The oils, the butters, salt.
Right, and they're back there cooking and they want to make it taste good. They're not worried about your cholesterol level or your weight or whatever. So, excellent. So, you're not in control of the food, what's being put in it, and larger portions.
I've seen many times the healthier options are more expensive.
Okay, so the healthier options costing more can be a deterrent. Okay, those are all great. There's another one that is a little bit not quite as obvious. You don't even have to burn the calories to do the cooking. You don't even have to get out of your car if you don't want to, right? So if you have a Fitbit, though, you may want to get out and go into the restaurant and come back out. Let's see what else. Okay, here's another one. I think it's a good deal to supersize, and that lends itself to portion size and also economics. We're trained, I've been trained to be, to do dollar cost averaging or whatever, like, divide the cost by the ounces at the grocery store and get the best deal, right? We're programmed that way. So you need to kind of leave that at home. It's not a good deal if it's going to increase your cholesterol, which causes you to need more medication, which puts you in a different health risk category. So a survey found that restaurants often serve 2 to 3 times more food than a label serving is, and that is difficult for the clean plate club. So we're going to go through some suggestions on what you should do when you're eating out to help you be successful. So I've got a couple more statistics. According to the CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control, in 2010, fast food was 11% of the American diet. And again, that one's not hugely surprising to me. But this was surprising. The survey also found that the percentage of total daily calories from fast food increased as weight status increased. So what that means is people who were more overweight in the survey had a higher percentage of intake from fast food. People who were less or lower in weight had less percentage intake of fast food. So that makes sense. There's a definite correlation between the amount of times we eat out, specifically fast food, but certainly any restaurant, and our weight. So we're going to do question and answer again. My question to you guys is, why do you eat out? What are some reasons we eat out?
Convenience.
Convenience. That's a good one. What else?
Change of pace.
Fatigue. You're exhausted. You don't want to cook anymore. What did you say?
Change.
Change, like the environment, maybe?
Well, no, I'm talking about different foods that are not normally prepared at home.
Okay, right. So like some maybe ethnic cuisines that you might not make at home, or
Yep.
sushi. You probably don't roll sushi at home. I don't.
Social.
Social. Okay, excellent. And that's pretty much everything I have on here except for I go out to eat because I have too much cash on hand. And I think that was meant to trigger the point that eating out can be expensive. But definitely, sometimes we even think that maybe if we eat out, we get better food than we have at home. So I think it's important to consider those reasons why you eat out and then make adjustments based on those. Because you can have social at home, you can have good food at home, you can have less costly food at home, and you can purchase some ethnic foods at the grocery store and make something yourself. And certainly it's still okay to go out occasionally and get things that you may not cook at home. So again, that goes back to setting goals. You want to limit how many times you eat out weekly, and maybe you do just go out specifically to this restaurant because it has your favorite, Thai, whatever. Pack lunches and snacks for work would be another goal because going out to eat for lunch can be costly. And usually, whatever you had from dinner the next night is a great leftover for lunch. And it's also free. You've already paid for it and you've already cooked it. And then planning for groceries and meals. So that speaks to time a little bit. We get rushed. We don't have time. So last week we talked a little bit about meal planning and how that sets you up for success. And that sets us up for success too, to not have to rely on restaurants or fast food if we run out of time. Like if we have those pantry staple meals at the ready, then we have a better opportunity to go home and just throw some stuff in a can. One of my favorite things that I don't think I mentioned last week is to make a big salad at the beginning of the week. Now, I will tell you that I chop my tomatoes and cucumbers and keep them separate because sometimes they don't last as long as the lettuce, and then your whole salad kind of gets maybe less desirable. So that is real helpful if you don't have time to chop the broccoli that you bought that you thought you would have time to chop. You can still pull out your salad to get the vegetables in. And something else that I went home and did after I talked to you guys last week was get a bowl out and put fruit in it on my counter. I didn't have a fruit bowl sitting out. And remember we said people who have a fruit bowl sitting on the counter tend to weigh 7 pounds less than people who have like cereal and other things sitting on their counter. So I thought that was pretty cool that you guys actually inspired me to do something. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's talk about how fast food is. How long do you spend waiting in line for fast food? And I don't have a statistic on this. So really it can be fast, but it can also take a little bit of time. You have to get in your car, you have to drive to it, and then you can either wait in the fast food line outside in the drive-thru, or you can go in and wait in that line. Now, how fast do you think you can eat a fast food meal? Probably about as fast as you can eat Thanksgiving, 15 minutes. And And so you can totally wolf that down, and in that fast food meal, generally, you're gonna have almost a full day's worth of calories and fat. Of course, depending on what you order. But, you know, think about the fact that you can eat like 1,500 calories in 15 minutes. That's crazy. And that's why fruits and vegetables are awesome, because you have to chew those a little bit more too, so it doesn't go down quite as fast. Then I have one of my favorite quotes that you won't be able to see, but it says, "Abs are made in the kitchen." So I love this quote because I'm an exerciser. I've exercised all my life, and I guess by the time I hit like 40, I was like, man, I would take one of those combat classes, and I would be sweating and so tired, and I thought, I can out-eat this in no time flat. You know? You can out-eat exercise. So abs are made in the kitchen, not just in the gym. And that's why we're talking about this stuff. It's very important. All right, so that leads us to, we know we can eat fast food meals in 15 minutes or less. How fast does it take, how fast can you burn off a fast food meal? So I have some little quotes for you. Wendy's Frosty, a 19-ounce Wendy's Frosty, you can burn that off with just 60 minutes of brisk walking after a 60-minute water aerobics class. That's all. Yeah, McDonald's selects chicken nuggets burn off if you go to the gym for an hour-long full-intensity spinning class and then go home and mow the lawn for an hour. Awesome. Yeah, it's good when you need to mow your lawn. Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, small fry, and a regular Coke will take 60 minutes to run off at an 11.5-minute pace. So, that might decrease your appetite. Just repeat those in your mind. So let's think about what else you might have on hand that's fast instead of just fast food. So this is kind of goes back to what we talked about last week. So what else do you have on hand that's fast?
I do the tuna pouches,
Okay,
because I can just put a little bit of olive oil, mayonnaise,
awesome.
and some veggies and cheese, and it's really quick.
Wonderful. So that's like a pantry staple for you that you can pull out whenever you're kind of having one of those days. Whenever there's no computer, you can pull out the tuna. That's awesome. What else?
Bacon's in those microwave bags.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's a great thing.
And you got cauliflower.
I think that's a great thing to add to your grocery list every week, to have some kind of convenient vegetable and meat. Excellent. A sandwich. You can make a sandwich at home. Frozen soup that you've made from before. Frozen meals, you can also keep those on hand for emergencies. Just make sure you're looking at the sodium levels, but the healthy choices and things like that usually do a pretty good job of that. And then, of course, leftovers. We talked about keeping leftovers or maybe making extra during the week. All right, so we're kind of phasing out of the negative part of eating out, going into the what can we do to make eating out better or more in line with our health goals. So obviously controlling portions. There's a definite, there are some strategies that you can take to control your portions. So you don't want to give in to supersizing, obviously, just to save a couple cents. That's not really going to be helpful to you. But what you can do is request like a lunch portion, which is usually a smaller portion. You can also take home half the meal. Now, I struggle with that particular recommendation unless you do this, unless you ask them ahead of time, like, when you bring my meal, please bring the to-go box, and then cut it in half right then and there. Because it's really hard to be eating and then just stop when there's still food on your plate. It's a lot easier if you go ahead and put it in your to-go container, and then you're good to go. And then share food with a friend. So I'm a big fan of sharing food. I'm a little bit on the cheap side too, so I get to half the price. That's not really, I do it more from a, I don't like to waste food and I don't need to eat this entire amount that they bring me. So my husband and I are very good about sharing. Some other people that you go out to eat with aren't always, excited about sharing food with you, so that's where the to-go box comes in handy. Okay, so these are also really good tips too. So I had looked at a PowerPoint earlier today online, and it said avoid or watch out for the 3 B's, and you might have to remember this. It was bread, butter, and beverages, right? The 3 B's. So the bread basket, that's tough because I don't make homemade bread at home either. So don't let them bring that out before your meal comes. Ask them to bring the bread with your meal. if at all. But it is realistic to eat a piece of bread. It's okay. But if that bread basket's sitting there, you're going to eat, at least in our family, we would eat the entire bread basket, potentially ask for more. And then your meal comes, and well, you have to eat that. So now you've gone overboard. So have them bring the bread basket with your meal. Maybe try to eat some of your meal before you dig into the bread, because if you're already a little full, you might be satisfied with one piece of bread. And then the same thing with the chips, right? At the Mexican restaurant, I'm always full when my meal comes. Who needs a meal? Just give me the free chips and salsa. So get them to bring you the chip basket one time with your meal, and then that's it. And if you frequent these restaurants, then you may want to skip the bread and the chip basket. Okay, refills on drinks. So this is another little, how much do you have to exercise in order to exercise off your refills? And this is, of course, assuming a caloric beverage, soda, sweet tea. So eating out twice a week plus one refill each time, so that would be 4 total drinks. 3.5 miles, extra miles to run this week. So lace up those shoes and get going, right? So really, it's not a matter of, it's really a matter of being aware of how many calories you're consuming. And again, with drinking, our body doesn't respond to those calories the same way. We don't recognize that we're full, that we've had 200 calories, so it makes it more difficult to gauge. So again, just kind of thinking like, drinking this Coke or this sweet tea, is it really worth that extra 1.5 mile run or 3.5 mile run? It's really probably not. So maybe that's something you need to phase out. If you've already phased that stuff out, that's awesome. Then I had a couple more slides on like how much you have to run for each drink. So I'm going to kind of skip past that a little bit.
They bring you refills on those drinks.
And they're free too, right?
That's the
Yes.
problem.
Yeah, so it's an economic thing. What you could do, which is not as, doesn't 100% solve it, to say, I would like my refills as water. Or drink a Diet Coke. Not that I think, everybody should go around drinking lots of Diet Coke constantly, but from a caloric standpoint, it's not going to be as big of an issue.
It might be something to stress is with your refill, get water instead of sweet tea or whatever.
Well, and that's less expensive too, to be honest. It's like $2 for a glass of tea.
Yeah.
So, and I could make a glass of tea for probably less than 5 cents at home. So drink water out, make tea at home, and use, no sugar or artificial sweetener or stevia. That's a great point. So some additional dining out do's. I have several slides on what to do to make dining out easier. So what are better, more healthful? What are some suggestions that you guys have already in your mind, or that you already do?
Just make your main dish a salad.
Make your main dish a salad.
Skip the fries.
Skip the fries. Replace the fries with a vegetable. Sure.
Look up nutritional information before you go.
Yes. So we've got this great resource online now where we can look up nutritional information. And again, another thing that's helpful, goes right along with that, is especially if it's restaurants that you frequent a lot, is to pick out some of those things that you like that help meet your nutritional goals. So that when you go in, you already have an idea of what you're going to order. Because if you go in and you don't really have an idea what you're going to order and you see all this stuff, it is kind of overwhelming and you're like, well, that looks good and that looks good, because usually you go in when you're hungry. So everything looks good. If you already have a plan, it helps you stay more successful. Right, what about like condiments and things like that? So get those on the side for the most part. And then you can make better choices like, for example, mustard instead of mayonnaise. You can ask for light mayonnaise. A lot of restaurants now are carrying more light versions of things. Another thing that always cracks me up at the fast food restaurants is you get a salad, and how big is that dressing packet? Like the dressing packet is it's huge. So you certainly are not obligated to use the entire dressing packet. Here's another one for Mexican restaurants. Like, again, kind of err on the side of heavy cheese at Mexican restaurants. So try to ask for no cheese or order things that don't have a lot of cheese and go for like the salsa and hot sauce and things like that. Because you still want flavor, but you don't have to have all the chewiness and a little cheese is good, but you can overdo the calories that way too. Requesting your foods to be grilled versus fried. Salad substitution, we talked about that. What about baked potatoes?
Yes. No sour cream, no extra butter.
So how about one dollop or 1 tablespoon of sour cream and no butter? That's still going to get you less calories and a little bit of moisture and flavor. And sometimes restaurants have the lighter sour creams, and so that's nice too.
I found putting it on yourself makes a huge difference. They load like a sweet potato.
Mm-hmm.
It's loaded.
Yeah,
So
it's a dessert item.
it is. So I just said, oh, I just want a little bit of butter on the side and then just kind of put my own in.
Excellent suggestion. Yeah, so
They brought it fully loaded. It was like a foreign concept to them.
that's hilarious. So you're training your restaurant, basically. Yeah, so asking the condiments or the butter for your potato and stuff to be on the side so you can monitor what you put on it. That's great. Same thing with salads. When they dress the salad for you, it usually is loaded down. Other dining out dues. Okay, here's bread or sandwiches, sub sandwiches or chicken sandwiches and things like that. You could ask for just plain, regular slices of bread instead of big hoagie rolls, or you could potentially just take the top off and eat it as an open-faced sandwich. That can help cut down on calories too. And some of this depends on how often you're eating out. Like when you're traveling and you're eating out a lot, it's a great idea to do some of this stuff for sure. If you're just eating out once a week, you still want to monitor these things for sure, but you may not have to go to every step we're taking here. What about pizza? What's a good idea to do about pizza? Thin crust is great.
Just skip
Skip it. Make it yourself at home. Skip it. Thin crust. What about toppings? Vegetables. And that's also getting a little bit more, there's a little bit more variety going on with pizza toppings now too. You can get artichoke hearts. My favorite is spinach, artichoke hearts, and extra tomatoes. Yum. But, you know, maybe you like mushrooms and green peppers, but there's lots of different vegetables out there. You can even get broccoli on your pizza at some places. So that's a great idea. All right, so we're switching gears to fast food. And the next set of slides really just kind of talk about the best options at just a few select fast food restaurants. And I'll tell you, I struggled a little bit with this presentation because guess what? I don't eat out that often. So I was kind of like, it's kind of interesting to me because I do cook a lot, and part of it's because it's my job. So it was kind of interesting to go through some of the fast food because I wasn't sure if some of these foods still exist or not because I don't go into the restaurants. I definitely have had my fair share of going into fast food restaurants. This is just the place where I am in my life now. So if I say something that doesn't exist anymore, please let me know. So McDonald's fruit and yogurt parfait with granola, I'm pretty sure that is still out and about, but that's actually not a bad choice. You could also opt to not include the granola. Wendy's Asian cashew chicken salad is about 380 calories, and that's with the light, spicy Asian vinaigrette. And I don't know if you've tried that, but it sounds delicious with cashews, cucumbers, red peppers, edamame.
It is good.
Yeah. So the point that I'm making here is there are some good options to choose, and it's helpful when you look online to find them. And because we're all going to find ourselves in that fast food line occasionally. Then there's the Burger King Veggie Burger, which Michelle was telling me is still in existence. So they have a veggie burger that is much lower in calories and fat than any of the other burgers out there. Chick-fil-A has a Greek yogurt parfait, which is higher in protein than the McDonald's one because they use Greek yogurt. And then there's the Zaxby House salad that get it grilled, right? And that's a reasonable choice. And then Subway has the Fresh Fit subs, also a good choice. So those are some of the best of the best fast food restaurant selections in town, found by looking online. All right, so we then have a slide on burgers. So we're just going to play a little game. I'm going to tell you the burgers I have listed on here, and you tell me which one you think is the lowest in calories, okay? McDonald's Big Mac, McDonald's Double Quarter Pounder, Burger King Steakhouse Burger, or the Wendy's Double Baconator. Which one is has the least amount of calories? The Big Mac. Which one do you think has the most calories?
Double Baconator.
Actually,
The steak.
yes.
Yeah.
You're right, it's the Baconator. All right, and which one has almost your total daily intake of fat?
Baconator.
Yes, 60 grams of fat, 970 calories. It's crazy. So that's why looking online at the information is helpful, because it makes you go, oh, well, maybe I should split that with my dog, or go somewhere else to eat, or pick something else. So now I'm going to list off some burgers, and you tell me which one you think is the best. Now I'm going to leave off the veggie burger because that's a dead giveaway. Okay. So we've got the McDonald's. Oh, that's a veggie burger too. McDonald's hamburger or Wendy's Junior hamburger. Which one do you think is the best? Junior. They're actually very comparable, so it's a little bit of a trick question. So just the regular hamburger. And then what could you get on that? Mustard, lettuce, tomato, double lettuce, double tomato. So green it up, add some veg. Okay, now French fries. Okay, so those hamburgers were about 340 calories each, 350, 360, in that range. All right, so French fries, we're looking at medium French fries. What do you think the calories are on medium French fries? 800. They're not quite 800. So we're looking at about 400 calories. So the same or more than the hamburgers. Isn't that crazy? So when you said skip the fries, I think that was an extremely valid point. Skip the fries. Fruit cups. Fruit cups are available now. All right. Now here's another interesting point. And do you think that the smaller meal food items have less calories? You know, when you see the minis, like the little corn dog thingies, or the little hamburgers. Right. They actually have more calories. And you'll notice that in the grocery stores too. Like if you look at the large frozen pizzas, and then you look at the individual serving size pizzas, the individual serving size pizza, one pizza is a serving. It's usually double what one serving of the bigger pizza is. So it's like a little trick. I don't know that they're trying to trick you into eating more calories. You know, there's probably some other cost reason they're doing that, but so that's something to be aware of. That smaller food items can be deceiving. They deceive your eyes, but not your stomach. Okay. Mini burgers or other sandwiches may cause overindulgence. The other example that we gave on that was the Dunkin' Donuts Munchkins, right? You just get a couple, and then you walk back by and you get a couple more, and then you get a couple more, and now you had like instead of a couple little minis, you had like 6, which is equal to 2 glazed donuts, right? So be careful with the minis. They're not nice. They're cute, but they're not nice. All right, so food for thought. It is hard to eat out and consistently eat healthy foods. The best goal is to set limits on how often you will eat out, and also plan ahead what you will order. Now, it is okay to splurge occasionally. Just remember that not every part of the meal should be a splurge. Okay. So one of the things that I truly enjoy is good food, and that's partially why I'm a dietitian. And as a dietitian, a lot of times people would come into my office and they would be so bummed out, and they would be sort of angry and mad that I was going to take away all of their good food. And I get that, but I don't think that I'm taking away good food. I think I'm giving opportunities to embrace what good food really is. So instead of what I can't have, always try to flip it around. What can I have? What am I gaining from this? And what else is delicious out there? There's plenty of delicious food that's also healthy. So try to put healthy meals together at home most of the time. And when you have to go out to eat, of course, make the best choices available to you at the time. And so I leave you with that very first slide where I asked questions. And that's what I want you to think about, or maybe go back online to pull those up, to jot down how often you're going to limit yourself to eating out. You know, make a goal, especially if you're someone who eats out frequently. And then also limit your splurges, whatever a splurge is to you, because everybody has different splurges. I will get a copy of the nutrition facts for the following restaurants, okay? That's a good goal. Pick some of your favorite restaurants. I will no longer order blank fries. I mean, whatever you want to put in the blank. I will start bringing my lunch to work. And then I will look over my team's list and help them to do what they say they will do. So those are the goals that I kind of want you to review tonight for your own self and decide what's going to work for you or help you reach your goals. And that is basically the end of the slide presentation. So the number 8, what do you think I'm referring to? If this is just totally random. So 8, what do you think?
Well, they always say eat 5 fruits and vegetables a day to stay alive, 5 to stay alive.
Okay.
I always said 8 to stick around late.
I love that. I might adopt that. That's great. 8 to stick around late. I like that, but it is not that.
8 glasses of water a day.
Okay, that's also great. I'll take one more guess. Anybody? Okay.
Eat before 8.
Okay, eat before 8 at night. Those are all great answers. So what it was, I was stuck in traffic, like probably a lot of you before I got here today, and it occurred to me I should start counting how many fast food restaurants I passed on the way here. 8. And that was when I started counting. So it's everywhere. It's just difficult to resist because it's so prevalent. It's kind of like that fruit bowl sitting out, except the bowl is, or our counter is like the freeway, right? And it's sitting out in front of us. So turn that into a fruit bowl, for sure. So thanks for sticking with me, guys, while I read the presentation to you. But I certainly will address any questions or concerns that anyone has at this time about eating out, or any suggestions that we did not touch on that you are already doing that you think could help your teammates. That would be great to shout out as well.
I got one.
Yes.
I've been, when I go out, a lot of times people say, well, where should we go, where should we go? And I look up the restaurant online, and a lot of times their menu is available, and so I can pick out before I go there what to have. What I can have, or maybe it's a restaurant that, when I look at the menu, I realize they don't have salad, so.
So you might suggest a different
Yeah.
place. Did everybody hear what she was saying? Like if you're going out to eat with a group of people and the restaurant is picked for you, then she'll pull the menu up ahead of time and get an idea of what's available at that particular restaurant. That's a great idea.
How do you encourage people, like my husband doesn't need to lose weight, he can just think and be fit again.
Yes.
So like when I started this, I had fish, when oh no, I know we're good. So I kind of had to keep like his stuff and my stuff, and when we go out to eat, sometimes it's really hard because I don't just want a salad every time. I'm like, we went to Chili's the other day, and I pulled up the menu, and I was like, 1,000 calories for this new burrito, and it was really hard to go through and see what I could have. But he tends to, then it takes longer to order. It seems like the whole process. So what have you found to encourage people that like maybe you're the only one in your house?
Right. I don't, aside from,
He's a good eater, but
right,
it's
and
a
some of it might
challenge.
just be like, hey, if you're especially feeling a little bit on the weaker side that particular day, like, I really need your support. Like, even just flat out saying, I need your support tonight on this. Or it would be important to me if you supported me when we have fish, or not even saying that comment.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have to love fish, and if he does want to eat something different when you're out, but maybe being supportive with his words, I don't know, a dialogue like that. Because it is difficult to change someone else's eating behavior. That's kind of his business, but you are married in a team, and what's
I'm making it all. So.
Right, and what's important to one person.
Decide.
Yeah, right, and if you're making food, you should just eat whatever you make. But,
Exactly. I know, I'm like, go eat your rocky road, I know you're good.
right, and that's, and it's, and I guess, and then check his cholesterol levels. Well, I've got that at home. My husband loves it. He's eating ice cream, but his cholesterol levels are high, and every time he comes home from that, he does better on the ice cream thing, right? It's not me telling him. It's him seeing some other results. And that may or may not ever happen with your husband, but you do what makes you feel good and try to feel confident in that. But there's times when we're all a little bit weaker, just asking for that support from him, whether it's just verbally or
just snacks for kids and stuff. I'm like, it is a little bit more, I have to be very intentional to say this is for me and I deserve this versus feeding everyone else in my house what they still like.
right. And you try not to have too much of that stuff on hand, but you probably are going to. That's the reality of it. And so I think out of sight, out of mind. Like when I pack my kids, I have a similar scenario. I'll pack the lunches. I put their chips in a baggie, I close the baggie, and you put the chips away. Now, if they sit on the counter, I'm gonna have 2. And then if I have 2, there's a risk of having 4. And then there's a risk, well, I've already had 4, right? So put it away, close the drawer. Or, in a pantry that's, you have to walk to get. Wherever, just putting it out of your sight. That's my best suggestion on that. And then, of course, trying to limit that. It cracks me up because we do have an ice cream problem at our house. So, and I do grocery shopping, so I will buy some ice cream. But the kids are like, we're out of ice cream, Mom, you need to go back to the store. I'm like, I don't go to the store to get ice cream and chips. I'll go to the store to get milk. But we're not making an extra effort because we're out of chips. Right. It's okay. You're going to be okay. So, setting little tiny rules like that. Like, I'll put it on the list. Just put it on the list. Next time I go, I'll get it. It's not important. So that's how I'm trying to train my children. A little's okay, but we don't have to have very good. Now, if your dad goes and gets it, I
He's
So that's a great
question.
My wife came up with an idea this past week, having a particular snack in the house, One serving is 70 calories, which is not that bad.
Right.
But when you're opening the package and you just eat.
Yes.
So she said, take out 1 serving and put it in baggies. And, it took 7 bags to have the serving.
Right.
They said, put those away. And when you go to get a baggie, you know you have what you're serving for the day.
That's right. That's an excellent suggestion. You could do that, and then you could also even just, if you know that snack, you put a little bit in a bowl and put it away. And that's the same thing kind of for the lunches for the kids. Put it away. You've done that, put it in the lunchbox, get your snack, and you're done. Excellent. Whatever, these are little behavior techniques that we can do for ourselves to make life easier, to make success more tangible for us.
So carrying water with you everywhere, and then at a restaurant trying to drink, if you can, a full glass of water to curb your hunger. Because I read that, I remember reading it in a book, like a lot of times you're getting hunger pains, but it's really you're dehydrated. And I found that to be true, that sometimes I feel that I'm hungry when I drink something, it helps.
Okay, that's a great suggestion. She was saying that, like, making sure that you're hydrated, so keeping water with you, and then at a restaurant also drinking water to help offset the hunger, because sometimes when we are thirsty, we may mistake that signal as being hungry. And I think in the wintertime it's particularly difficult. We addressed this a little bit last week. It's cold now. It was much colder last week, and it's harder to drink cold water. So many times I will take mine without ice, and at restaurants I ask them for my water without ice, so that will encourage me to drink it. Because if I'm freezing, it's really not encouraging to drink a cold glass of water. So that's a great suggestion. Anything else you guys have to share? Thank you so much for coming out. I think Katie's going to give away the